President Trump is still refusing to accept his loss in the November election, and now virtually the entire Republican Party is in lockstep behind him as he tries to invalidate the results and overthrow the democratically elected government. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Well, it was fun for a couple of days, wasn't it? It's like we all sat through a long, boring wedding and we finally got to drink and dance our hearts out, and then they stopped the music for one more speech from the racist grandpa. I remembered something else about Korea. Donald Trump and the Republican Party are not only refusing to concede a presidential election, they clearly and decisively lost. They're acting as if Trump will remain in office despite the will of the people. The Trump White House is moving forward with its budget proposal for next year, vetting new hires for a second term, firing officials at the Pentagon and replacing them with unqualified yes men, authorizing Justice Department investigations of non-existent voter fraud, and saying stuff like this.
Is the State Department currently preparing to engage with the Biden transition team? And if not, at what point does a delay hamper a smooth transition or pose a risk to national security?
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
A hilarious joke about the President of the United States actively trying to overthrow his democratically elected successor. I'm sorry, but are we all sure he was joking? Mike Pompeo has all the charm and comedic timing of a divorced gym teacher meeting his girlfriend's son for the first time. Hey, Tyler, come on. Pull my finger. Come on, pull it. Hey, I'm 26, bro. Just pull it. All right, fine. Oh, my pants. I'm gonna go change my pants. Honestly, I don't know if it was a joke or not, but either way, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say if you're the Secretary of State, maybe don't joke about a possible coup. That's one of those no-joking jobs. You know, like Army drill sergeant or oncologist. Well, Dave, I'm looking at your x-ray and it's bad news. You're gonna spend about 40 more years with your wife. Well, you can take them with you. The truth is, it's clear and unavoidable. Joe Biden is the president-elect of the United States based on a decisive win in last week's election, and that's not going to change no matter how many ballots Republicans challenge. Incidentally, Trump is currently winning North Carolina, which accepts mail-in ballots 9 days after the election, as long as they were postmarked by Election Day, and oddly, I don't hear any Republicans whining about fraud. The margins in state Biden won are too large for Trump to overcome. Even if they did find an isolated case of actual fraud, which they haven't because it doesn't exist. Just take Maricopa County in Arizona. After a week of baselessly claiming fraud and suggesting Trump could end up winning the state, Trump's legal team has challenged a grand total of 180 rejected ballots. Biden leads in Arizona by 14,746 votes. It's like the Jets kicking a field goal down 42 points after the game is already over. Coach, sent me out there for the fifth quarter. There are only 4 quarters. Then why isn't a quarter worth 4 cents? Coach, they can't overturn the election results because there wasn't any. Investigations by both the New York Times and AP have confirmed that. The Trump team's lies are so transparent, even Fox News cut away from one of their press conferences.
You are welcoming fraud, and you are welcoming illegal voting. We want every legal vote to be counted, and we want every illegal vote to be...
I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this.
Man, it's rough when your most sycophantic supporters bail. That was like watching Smithers say, "Shut up, man!" It's like the National Zoo cutting away from the panda cam because the sex is getting too graphic. Okay, they're humping, that's fine. Oh, and now they're... Oh my god. Kevin, what position is that? I think that's called standing wheelbarrow. Okay, cut the feed. Cut the feed. Kids are watching. Cut the feed. And by the way, in that same press conference, a reporter asked White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, who incidentally gets paid with your tax dollars to show up and lie at Trump campaign events, a very simple, straightforward question. Do you know for a fact that there were fraudulent votes cast? And this will not shock you. She did not answer.
Do you know that fraudulent votes were actually cast? Or are you simply saying we don't know because we couldn't see?
Look, what we are asking for here is patience.
So all you're saying is you need a little patience? Thanks, Guns N' Roses. You swore that would work, Shoemaker. And I'm sorry, Donald Trump wants patience? The least patient man on the face of the earth? The guy who literally shoved his way to the front of a group of NATO leaders like a bridesmaid trying to catch a bouquet at a wedding? You already have a boyfriend, Janet. Let me have this. A man so patient he tried to close his umbrella once and then just left it on the stairs to the plane? Donald, where is your umbrella? Antifa took it. Again? They're out to get me, Mel. These ghouls have had a week since the election to prove their voter fraud bull, and all they can do is ask for patience. This is like if you came home late from work with lipstick on your and your wife asked, are you having an affair? And you said, look, I can get you a cover story tomorrow, but right now I am dead tired due to some very strenuous extramarital sex. And every time they do mention something that sounds vaguely nefarious, like dead people registered to vote or backdating ballots or whatever, it always turns out to have a very simple and innocent explanation. In Pennsylvania, a postal worker admitted he fabricated claims of ballot tampering and recanted them. Or how about Nevada, where the Trump campaign is challenging 3,000 ballots cast by people they claim moved to another state, making them ineligible to vote? Well, it sounds bad, right? Well, it turns out there's a different explanation. According to the Wall Street Journal, service members who have legally voted in Nevada after being transferred elsewhere. That's right, Trump and the GOP are trying to get thousands of ballots cast by service members thrown out because they legally voted in Nevada and then were transferred elsewhere. Support the troops to disenfranchise the troops. On Veterans Day, no less. Bravo. What's on tap for Groundhog Day? Are you going to pour gasoline into Punxsutawney Phil's burrow? I say how much winter is left. Who's got a match? Trump promised for months that this is exactly how he'd react if he lost, and now he's doing it and shredding American democracy in the process. If anything, this might be the first time he's delivering on what he promised. Let's not forget, in 2016, he also said he wouldn't accept the election results either. So unlike his pledge to build a wall that Mexico pays for, that we'd win so much we'd get sick of winning, that coronavirus would go away when the weather got warmer, in this case, Trump has kept his word to the American people about not accepting the word of the American people. If a guy walks into a party and says, I cannot promise that I won't go through your wife's underwear, and you later catch him elbows deep in her stretch silk, eyes closed, mouth hanging open, saying, love that dryer sheet smell, the phone kind of lies on you for not immediately kicking him out when he said the first thing. Sore winners rarely make good losers. You might remember that in 2016, Trump made the absolutely ludicrous, unhinged claim that 3 to 5 million voted illegally in that election, which he won, and which Hillary conceded the next day. Trump even promised an investigation to prove that he was right.
If you look at voter registration, you look at the dead people that are registered to vote, who vote, you look at people that are registered in 2 states, you look at all of these different things that are happening with registration, you take a look at those registration forms, you're going to find, and we're going to do an investigation on it.
But 3 to 5 million illegal votes?
Well, we're going to find out, but it could very well be that much.
When you say, in your opinion, millions of illegal votes, that is something that is extremely fundamental to our functioning democracy, a fair and free election.
Sure.
You're going to launch an investigation into this.
Done.
So you've launched an investigation.
We're going to launch an investigation to find out.
Surprise, he did not find out. Trump would be the worst private investigator. Sure, doll, I'll help you find your husband. Is that him? Down there under that street lamp? No? Well, I'm out of ideas. This is over. He should start a British detective series called, I don't know, The Trumple Down Mysteries. And every episode would be him slowly revealing he's done no investigating. Have you deduced who the killer is, Inspector Troubledown? I'm getting close. Closer every day. Hearing some very, very bad things about the butler. Oh, we don't like the butler, do we, folks? But we're possibly going to have an answer soon, because one thing we can all agree on, the Countess is dead, or not. This is the same stunt Trump's been pulling for years. Remember when he built his entire political career around the racist conspiracy theory that the first black president wasn't born in the U.S.? You know, the one that rocketed him to stardom with Republican voters because he's not a unique figure in history, but a perfect emblem of the racism and depravity of the modern conservative movement. Well, anyway, he pretended he was doing the same dumb investigative work back then, too.
He may not have been born in this country, and they cannot believe what they're finding.
You have people now down
Absolutely.
there searching, in Hawaii?
Absolutely, and they cannot believe what they're finding.
Obviously, he did not send investigators down to Hawaii because you have to pay investigators. But if he did, I bet that would have been a plum gig. A world-renowned idiot sends you on an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii to investigate a racist conspiracy theory you know is bull. And all you have to do is call him up and say, we're finding a lot of stuff down here. No, you wouldn't believe it. Hey, can I get another Mai Tai? And this time, can I get inside a pineapple with a little umbrella? Thank you. Anyway, yeah, Donald, we're finding lots of proof down here. We're going to need some more money and maybe a masseuse? This is the same scam Trump's been running for years, and every time Republicans and their voters eat it up. For example, Trump actually went through with that dumb threat to investigate voter fraud in 2016 and put together a commission that was so unsuccessful, they had to disband it after finding nothing. The commission was led by Chris Kobach, the former Kansas Secretary of State, who found so little proof of voter fraud, he got humiliated in a disastrous interview on CNN.
We have about 3 million people who are registered in more than one state. And that's not a crime. That's just an administrative
including
bookkeeping.
the president's son-in-law, including the president's Treasury Secretary.
Exactly, yeah. And many of your viewers are probably registered in more than one state. But what is a crime is if you actually vote in both of those states or in more than 2 states.
Of course it's a crime.
And
But where is the evidence of this widespread, rampant, millions of people voting? If it had happened, why haven't we seen it?
We've already filed 9 cases.
From the notes that I saw, you've
9
cases.
Guilty pleas.
Right. 6 guilty pleas, 1
Right.
dismissed, 2
And
pending. That says January 25th. 9 cases does not rampant, widespread voter fraud make.
And the 9 cases are just the ones at the top of the list. One of the interesting things we found in prosecuting this crime in Kansas is that both Republicans and Democrats do it.
These guys are such bumbling morons. They went from claiming there were 3 to 5 million illegal votes, all of them for Democrats, to there were 6 guilty pleas, and some of them were Republicans. It's like an episode of Law & Order that starts with a jogger finding a body in the park and ends with a coroner's report that says he was just sleeping, and now he's pissed, and he's a lawyer, and he's suing us. There's a common through line from birtherism to lies about voter fraud. Republicans don't see their opponents as legitimate, and they don't accept the outcomes of democratic elections. That's why they claim the first black president wasn't born here, or that mail ballots are somehow fraudulent, or that a secret army of dead people rose up from their graves, voted in this election, and then held a press conference in front of a landscaping company. Thanks for coming, everyone. It's getting late, so I better scoot on over to the cremation center. The Republican Party is an authoritarian movement that is opposed to democracy, does not see victories by their political opponents as legitimate. They believe they are the only ones entitled to wield power regardless of what voters actually want. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not sure we can have a functioning democracy if one side refuses to accept the results whenever they lose. And even if this specific coup attempt doesn't work, that's not like good news. If someone tries to rob a bank, again, you don't just wave goodbye and say, no harm, no foul, take care, buddy, come back. You know, if you want to open a checking account. Suffice this to say, it's not a good situation when you have one political party committed to democracy no matter the outcome and the other opposed to democracy at all costs. Even if this ridiculous coup attempt fails, it doesn't bode well for the future, which is why we need bold, systemic reforms to empower everyone to vote and honor what the majority of voters actually want, like abolishing the Electoral College and fixing the Voting Rights Act, among other things. These should be no-brainers. If we had a healthy, functioning political system, both parties would react to these ideas by saying,
Sure, done.
This has been A Closer Look. God's Love We Deliver cooks and brings over 2 million meals a year to men, women, and children living with HIV, AIDS, cancer, and other serious illnesses, and they need your help now more than ever. If you're watching this online, hit the donate button, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. We love you.